Hi, and welcome to the THC Show. I'm your host, Neil Magnuson. This is the show where we talk about the truths in our world, some good, some bad, some reasons for hope, because some of those truths are bad, and we look for mechanisms for change. And we've been finding a mechanism for change here with the Healing Wave Cannabis Substitution Program. Change is what we've been looking for a long time. This is the continuing saga of our quest for a community-based, low-barrier access community cannabis store. And it's been quite the road so far. As many of you know, if you're regular viewers, the Cannabis Substitution Program has been running for almost 4 years now. It started out at the Vancouver Area Network of Drug Users office in 2017 in February, where we started giving out high-dose edibles to people to help get them off opioids. It was very successful. We've maintained it for all this time thanks to so many people that have donated to our program. It's all done by donations. 2.5 years after starting that program, that's only how long it took for the city to pass a motion saying that they would support what we were doing in the form of low barrier access to cannabis. And so after a meeting with the city and deciding that we would find a storefront and start making that available to people, that's what we did, although it took us a year to find a spot. But last June we found a store. We started offering our services not just with the Cannabis Substitution Program, but in a collaboration with the Healing Wave Dispensary that allowed for low barrier access. So affordable cannabinoids in all of their different forms. And we had a wonderful run of about 4.5 months before time ran out on us, because the city had threatened our landlord that if we didn't get a license, then he would be fined and charged. And so the city wouldn't give us a license until Ottawa gave us permission. We did put in almost 3 months ago now a long, comprehensive application for a license, not just for ourselves to be able to provide low barrier access to cannabis, but for those people that were supplying us as well. We have a long history of these people that are donating to us. They are very trusted sources. In the time that we've been operating this program, we've given out about 14 million milligrams of high-dose edibles to people and well over 100 pounds of dried flowers with no problems whatsoever. In fact, Professor Dr. M.J. Malloy has been studying our work, has released about 50 papers already about the effectiveness of cannabis and how it's working to offset the use of opioids and other street drugs. So that's all been documented and is part of our application. However, Health Canada had not responded to us in a timely fashion, even though we marked our application emergency because we knew that our landlord was under pressure from the city and that he was likely going to act against us if he was forced to do that, even though that's not what he wanted to do. And so that is what happened, is that he had to finally take us to court to try to evict us to protect himself. The courts decided that rather than give us time to get our license in place, they would just evict us and gave us 7 days to get out of our space with no time to find a new spot. And the judge, Mr. Majawa, said that he was doing that because we were showing up in court with unclean hands because we had been breaking the law to save people's lives. A very nasty judgment in my opinion, one where he was not obviously really familiar with what we were doing. He even said himself during the hearing that he had not had a detailed look at our submission. And after the hearing, when there was still 4 days to go before his decision, he refused to take any more information, which would have been the staff report to City Hall that supported us in great ways. It included a letter that we got from Professor Zachary Walsh, that he's the foremost leading expert with respect to cannabis as a substitution for opioids and other street drugs and other drugs. He wouldn't accept that information as well. And so gave us that really harsh decision. We have over 250 people as part of the Cannabis Substitution Program that rely on us for high-dose edibles. Once we opened our store, we changed to allowing them to come every 4 days and get 420 milligrams of their choice. Prior to that, at Vandu, they had simply lined up on the sidewalk for hours waiting for a care pack that we put together of 4 to 6 edibles and a couple of joints. So our program was much better once we moved it indoors here. But then when we got evicted, well, we had to do something because we couldn't let those people just hang, because what are they going to do, right? They're going to go and find some other way to deal with their issues, and that involves street drugs and going to other street dealers and possibly even going back to the hard drugs that they were on and quite likely or possibly having an overdose and even dying. So we couldn't allow that to happen. Once we were evicted from here, we bought an RV and we parked it right out front so people would know where to find us, because many of the people of the 250 plus that we're helping with high dose edibles for free don't have contact information, don't have cell phones, and wouldn't be able to find us if we just moved somewhere else. So we continued our service from the RV for about 2 weeks before the VPD showed up, and in about 15 minutes stole most of what we had for people, raided us, told us to move the vehicle and take down our signs and our tent and stop doing what we're doing. I argued as best I could, but they were going to impound the vehicle if I didn't move it right away, so I did drive it away. And I drove it straight to the main police station to complain about what they were doing, to ask to speak to Deputy Chief Steve Ray, who I've had a relationship with since I first presented this program to the VPD back in November of 2016. And upon not being able to talk to Mr. Ray or any other senior VPD officer, only to talk with someone on the other end of a phone in the lobby, I then drove straight back to where we were. People were waiting for us. We opened back up and continued our service. The next day, the VPD sent the parking people after us, told us we couldn't park anywhere in the block, and that we had been there more than 2 hours, and that was their justification. Even though most of the other cars in the block are parked there all day, every day. I didn't mention that. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but that was what happened there. I then wrote another long letter to Deputy Chief Steve Ray, and he said that he would circulate an email amongst the different department heads. It wasn't in his command section. He wasn't aware of what was happening with us, but that he would advocate on our behalf, and he did. The VPD then spent about 10 days discussing our situation. I would imagine they discussed it with Ottawa, and they came back and called me about 10 days later, and they said, well, we're really sympathetic with your situation, and we really hope you can get it worked out, but you have to stop doing what you're doing. You can't be slinging weed out of an RV. And I said, no, we won't stop. We can't stop. People will die, and maybe you don't care about these people, but we do. And so we've continued on with what we're doing. They have not showed back up, and I really do appreciate that. I would imagine Deputy Chief Ray has had something to do with that as well, because I immediately contacted him again and said, now we're being harassed by the parking people. So that has since ceased. The good news is, the real update that I know you're all waiting for, is that we did get an email from Health Canada last week saying that we could have a telephone conference with them to update us on the status of our application. The Special Licensing and Exemptions Division is who contacted us. I agreed to that meeting last Friday, but they were unable to make it happen on their end, so we waited through the weekend. And sure enough, yesterday morning I got another email from the Special Licensing and Exemptions Division saying that we could have our meeting with them yesterday in the afternoon. So at 1 p.m. yesterday afternoon, we had a conference call meeting. Several of the high-ups within Health Canada and those interested in this particular file came through, and they were part of the call that we made, my lawyer John Conroy and myself on the other end. And I got to tell you, that meeting was extremely positive. There was no hint that they're going to deny us at all. They were quite apologetic that it had taken so long, and it's been almost 3 months now. But they said that it was very complicated what they had to do, because we're not just asking for exemptions for us, but also for those people that help to supply us. And so understanding that this certainly goes against the policies that they have, and is going to interfere with their monopoly of selling high-priced cannabis to people. We do recognize that it's complicated, but it looks like they're going to do that for us. They said that they couldn't do it right away because of COVID, because of Christmas, because of people going on holiday. There was a whole bunch of different excuses, but that's all fine. They did say that early in the new year they should have that ready for us. So we're very, very excited about that. I sent a letter to Deputy Chief Ray this morning expressing my gratitude for his work on our behalf, and he wrote me right back and said that he was happy to have done that and thankful that we were maybe looking like we were going to get our licenses and be part of the legal framework. And so that's all very, very positive. This journey has been one that's had its ups and downs, that's for sure. We had quite a run at Van Du. which was very positive in some ways because we were helping a lot of people. We came to really get to know a lot of the people that we're helping, and many of them over the years report that they're not using anything but cannabis, and that cannabis has saved their life, and that's all very encouraging and very positive. It was positive that so many people were interested in the service that we were providing. We would have 200 to 300 people line up every time we were there. We were there 300 times in total. For the last 2.5 years, we were there every Thursday and every Sunday. And I mean, that's all wonderful and everything, that so many people wanted our service and would line up for hours to get it. But on the other side of that, I mean, these poor people were lining up for hours, many times through inclement weather. Being there for 3.5 years doing that meant that we went through actually 4 winters and 3 summers. So snowy days and rainy days and cold days and hot days. And most of these people have mobility issues to begin with. So it was very hard for me to have them all line up like that. We had lots of incidents. It was the only area of problem that we had with our program, was that people were butting in, and there was some animosity sometimes within the line. I mean, there was also a sense of community. A lot of people were happy to meet with each other twice a week like that. But we did have problems with our lineup. And on the very last day that we were there, we had an incident where someone came along and pepper sprayed 2 of the people in our lineup, quite seriously actually. And that had never happened before. We'd never had a violent incident like that. And I recognized at the time when that happened, and that was our last day there. That was the 300th time that we were going to be there. We'd already got our shop. We'd been open for a couple of weeks, but we wanted to make sure everybody knew where we were. So we kept going back to Vandu 4 more times after we opened our shop. And that just happened to be the 300th time that we were there and the last time that we were there. But it occurred to me upon thinking about it that had that happened at any other time, that would have been the end of it. That I would have found some other way to help the people besides having them line up to be targets for people. And we would have closed it down at that time. So that was all very synchronistic and interesting. And then we moved into our little store. At Vandu, as I mentioned, we just had care packs that we put together for people. Our volunteers would put together the donations that I'd brought for that particular event, and they would put 4 to 6 edibles and a couple of joints into a bag, and we would hand that to the people in the lineup. They did get a choice from CBD to THC to half and half to sativa and indica as well, which was good. But what we managed to do when we had the store, and what we've still been doing out in the RV, is that the donations that we have are all laid out for them. They get to choose up to 420 milligrams per time that they come, and they can come back every 4 days for that. And what that allows for is for us to track what they're taking, what they're using. We also have a questionnaire for them every time they come about what's working best for them, what the right dosage is, what the time between dosages is, and whether there's any other problems or benefits that have arisen with the use of cannabis for whatever they're using it for. And so we're doing research and tracking all of that data and information. We've got reams of those papers filled out already. And that's how we've been running our program ever since, which is way better because then we get to find out what their preferences are and how those things work. So we're gathering all of that. We're doing this great work, but we're doing it out of an RV. And that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's very cozy in there for our volunteers, and we're all getting along pretty well in there, and that's really good. Oh, there's where that went. Live TV. What can I tell you? So, in the meantime, now we've got Health Canada. They're going to come back to us in early January and give us licenses, hopefully, or reasons why not. But I don't think that's going to happen. There was no indication that that's going to happen. I fully expected that we would hear things like, well, this is a really difficult thing that you're asking us to do, and I don't think that we're going to be able to do it for you the way that you want. But there was none of that. So they were just worried about how they were going to accommodate us with all the things that we wanted, with having our suppliers licensed and those sorts of things. So that's all really positive, but it's not a done deal yet. And so if you want to help us, and we certainly do appreciate all the help that we can get. My cat's going crazy, isn't he? That's Kato the shop cat. He really misses the store. But he's a teenager and he's a ninja, and he's hunting for whatever fun he can have, and we love him a lot. But what I'm talking about with you guys is that we could use more letters of support to go into Health Canada. Okay, what's going on, buddy? He's the new star of the show, right? And if he could talk, he would tell you we need more support. This is a good time to be contacting Health Canada or Patty Haydu or anybody else that's in a position of influence, your local MP, the media, all of those people, if they could put a little more pressure on Health Canada to get us our license, maybe get it a little quicker than into the new year. There's a lot of pressure on us out here. We're concerned. We're always watching to see if there's undercovers coming, to see if the police are going to pull up alongside and steal our stuff again. We're worried about these things. We're also very diminished in how we can help people out in the RV. Here in the store, this was a safe space for people. They could come here, and many of them are suffering from depression and anxiety and a lot of different things these days, especially with the parallel pandemic that's going on. And we provided a safe space for people where they could come and find people that cared about them, and they could tell their concerns to and get some feeling that somebody's listening to them and helping them. And we always had other things going on. 419, roll them if you got them, 1 minute to go. We always had food for people. We had a fruit bowl. People would bring other food items that we would give away. And twice a week we would have hot food come in with the infusion in it. We have two different groups. John Murray is so good to come and do what he does. And Evan Reeks and Mackenzie Baxfield, they come and they've got all their hot food for us. And they come on Thursdays and John comes on Sundays. And we're still doing it out at the RV. But it's in the cold and in the rain and under a tent, and not as good as we could do it in our store. So we're really hopeful that we can get back into our store as quickly as we can. It's really cold out there. We're going through a couple of little propane bottles every day as well. And maybe if we put a little more pressure on Health Canada and the Federal Health Minister, Patty Haydu, maybe they'll find a way to just sign that paper and get it to us or get it to the city and allow us to move back into our store. I did contact the city this morning. I expressed how that phone call went and asked if maybe they confirmed with Health Canada that we were going to get a license in early January, that maybe they could allow us back into the space until that happens. Councillor Bly was not hopeful that would happen, however, but she was going to contact the manager of the licensing department and just see if that was something that could happen. So fingers crossed, and with a little bit of help and support, we can maybe make all that happen. All right, so that brings us to 420. Light them if you got them. And as always, Glenn Wells is here. I have another guest. You want to come on in here?
I can only be a quick visit today. Oh my gosh, this cat is so cute.
So you all know Jodie Emery. I don't think she needs any introduction.
No. I just wanted to say,
bring your chair.
You guys are
Bring your chair. Come on in, sit down.
Okay. Well, I kind of want to bow down, you guys, too, because I watch online on Facebook when I check in. It feeds me all your guys' stuff. For some reason, that's what it wants me to see, and that's what I see. And you guys are helping literally save lives when people are freezing to death on the street. So I just came by and handed off to your crew some stuff from Canadian Tire, some foot warmers, hand warmers, gloves, hats, some underlining clothes, and it's for you guys and the crew. But also there's some emergency wraps in case you ever find skin again. Really cool.
Well, we do.
We have it's very minimal, but it's just something to because
you guys very much.
You guys are soldiers on the front lines, and I admire and respect you so much. And if anyone else can come drop off some bags of socks, gloves, hats, things to stay warm.
Well, but that brings us to what we haven't mentioned yet on the show, and that is that we're going to do our annual Christmas giveaway like we've been doing at Vancouver, but we're going to do it here. We've been accepting donations. We actually had a GoFundMe page where we raised about $1,600.
That was amazing.
Doobs and Tubes.
Socks that they're getting.
Shout out to Sterling that got that going in Saskatchewan.
I also want to let you guys know at Cannabis Culture Lounge right now we have a special promotion going on in-house where we're inviting all of the customers in the lounge to donate $1 or a doobie to you guys.
That's pretty cool.
As far as we can go into the winter, it's because as a company, you all know, COVID is destroying everything, and we're barely hanging on. So we don't have extra to give, but our customers want to give, and if they have $1, or they can pay $5 and they'll get a doobie. And then the plan is once a week you can come by and pick up whatever donations and doobies to go to your team. Use them how you want.
That's fantastic.
But we need people to give back, especially those on the front lines. This is a crazy hard time, and I we aren't really. I'm not announcing that. I'm not posting it online because. I'm trying to get a license. I'm talking to cops and shit about getting legal or whatever. So it's a weird time right now. But in my heart, we gotta give back to you guys who are honestly the soldiers on the front lines. You're the medics saving lives. And the rest of us could be working on. We need to change the policies to end the war, and that's a different type of activism. But when it comes down to who's actually if you had to narrow it down to who's actually doing the life saving, it's not the fucking politicians having board meetings. It's the people like you guys saving lives on the front lines, and I honestly admire and respect you so much. I wish I had the guts and gumption to do what you do. I'm a huge admirer, and I love you guys.
You've got a lot of guts to do a whole bunch of other things. My goodness,
yes,
cannabis culture has been leading the way for a long time in activism. I'm sure I'm only here because of you guys.
But it's so easy to get tired, and I do get tired, and you guys, I know you get tired too, but like you don't give up, and that's just inspiring beyond what any words could say. So
we gotta win.
The least I can do is like give a little bit here or there, some mittens and gloves, literally, or
thank you so much.
Cat House.
Yeah.
So your hilarious guest, your co-host here, can give you all sorts of giggles. That is the cutest.
He loves that.
I am so happy to hear that.
Refuge.
And I wish I was gonna bake muffins and bring them this morning, but I didn't have time.
We're not doing it until next Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So we still have a week's time.
Okay.
You want to come help pass out some stuff, maybe?
I will do the best I can. I just moved out of. I lived only a couple blocks away, and like this is a tough neighborhood to live in.
We could pick you up.
So after a few years,
you need a ride?
I'm in North Van, but I'm also gonna go.
Van.
Yeah, I got out of the city, and but I'm also hoping to see my parents, who are part of my bubble. For Christmas, because my mom's the type who would rather die than not see family, right? Like, what's the point? Anyway, and she has cancer, and cannabis is helping save her too. So, anyway, point being, this is a crazy month.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't have as much time to hang out here today as I wish I could. I'm running around getting different things done. But you guys can come down to Vancouver directly, or how can they email you if they wanted to find out how to like mail a money order, or I don't know what.
FreedomTour06@hotmail.com.
FreedomTour06@hotmail.com. That's what you heard it. Email Neil if you can help it anyway, or you know someone locally who can help out, or a business, or anything.
We're taking donations from now until next Tuesday that we're going to give away next Tuesday. After that,
that's like food, clothing.
Picked up
clothing. This is officially Tubes and Doobs.
Yeah.
We're going to have an infused cookie for everybody.
Okay.
We've got rolling papers, thanks to
Pizza.
Canadian Lumber.
Yeah.
I'll give them
they're good papers.
I'll give them another shout out. Those papers are great. We've been selling them for $1 a piece to people and giving them out to other people.
Awesome.
And now we're going to be able to give them away one per bag. What are we going to do? We figure we got about 200 bags to give away.
240.
240
So
bags.
we bought
should be able to
60
give away
bags of
today.
socks, and each bag had 4 pairs of socks in it. So that's 240 people that we can help.
And that's like huge.
And everybody will get a joint, they'll get a cookie, they'll get rolling papers, they'll get socks,
We
and
raised
whatever else.
$1,600. $1,000 went for the socks. $300 went for the pizza that we're going to be serving.
Pizza,
good
right?
stuff.
And $200 went for the doobies that we're rolling up, because he got hit by the bus. It would be a little bit harder to give out 200 doobies, so I gave him $1, $200.
We were prepared to do that.
Yeah, but
and you're
we got
awesome,
extra,
and
we got
that really
extra
does
money,
help.
right? Extra
you're
money makes it.
amazing.
Yeah,
you guys endlessly inspiring. So thank you, and I just want like.
Well, and hopefully
you
we do.
too.
Hopefully we do 2 things with this. That we allow for cannabis to be embraced, right across Canada by communities that have problems with this epidemic of overdose. But also, cannabis consumers need low barrier access, for not for the overdose crisis, but just in general. That especially daily users, people are using it for medical.
It's expensive.
You can't go to the government stores. You can't trust that their weed is of medical grade. They even call themselves non-medical, and we know they're using a lot of sprays or irradiation on that
Some
stuff.
people just want a local organic gardener, someone they know who grew stuff with their own hands, like whether it's homemade muffins or home sewn mittens, which I didn't sew the mittens, I'm sorry, but if I could, I would.
Dare you.
So, putting your heart into the actual product, it has value.
Yeah, all of our suppliers are trusted, and we have all the testing equipment, so everything is tested. And there's the testing equipment, and then there's the testing of the product by our in-house volunteers.
You guys are going to be vindicated like this long, hard road, and the government hates to admit that they're wrong and that their critics are right. So you obviously, I think we can say we're kind of critics of government because they deserve to be criticized. But, but just like seeing the progress and hearing what I've heard so far about the meeting so far and stuff, it sounds like they will slowly, begrudgingly give it to you, and in 5 years there'll be like a press conference about how politicians are amazing for allowing low cost access.
Maybe before 5 years.
Hopefully sooner.
The next election.
During the conference call yesterday, I pointed out to them that there's some real political currency at play here. That there's a lot of people across Canada watching to see what's going on, and if they are to embrace and allow what we're doing, then that'll go a long way to getting favor. And on the other side of it, I mean, if they were to deny us and say, oh no, you can't use cannabis to save people's lives, I think that would have huge repercussions in the coming election.
No, there's no way that governments can say, we support harm reduction, we support access to drugs, we support decriminalization, we support this and that, consumption sites, this and that, and then go, oh, but except for you pot people. Like, no fucking way, that is not happening, no way. It's like, as long as you guys keep standing, like, that's the thing. They've chopped down a lot of trees in our forest, and
we're
I
not
just
going
feel
down.
like you guys are old growth. Like, you cannot, I'm here to protect this forest.
Yeah, they would have to arrest me and put me in a cage, and I don't think that would stop anything either.
I don't think they're even going to be resorting to that anymore,
No,
because
so
as we've seen, you and I both, it's all with threatening letters and lawsuits and fines and a bunch of evil bullshit like they did. It's death by 1,000 red tape paper cuts.
Yeah.
It's like just slow torture, bureaucratic style. But again, I can't stay long, and I wish I could, but you guys are heroes, and I'm glad. Thank you, Neil, for always making sure that this message gets out, and thank you for making
Neil's
this message come out while you're still doing everything else you're doing. And thank you for letting this cute little kitten just like steal our hearts. I love him so. He says, hi everybody. No, he doesn't.
He looks really mellow right now, but this is a teenage ninja. Cat.
He was up there, and I was curious, how did somebody
He
put
jumps
him there?
right down from there.
Does he ever? I watched
Fred
him do
Bell
it.
said that the cat came back.
He got the cat back. He escaped, but we got him back. Thanks to, I think it's Sonia is her name, a wonderful person that managed to get a hold of him after he was running around Maine and Hastings.
Got lost and somebody saved you. Little scamp. Don't you do that again.
He wanted out so bad. Well, he got out, and then I don't think he liked what he found out there. They said he was darting around at Maine and Hastings, not looking very happy.
That's not a good place for little cute potatoes like you.
No.
Oh my god.
But less than 24 hours later, we had him back. And we're not letting him go again, that's for sure.
Okay, well again, I love you guys. I will let you get back to your, what time, 4:29? I stole 9 minutes.
You joined us for the 420 session.
We don't mind. That's perfect.
And you guys are awesome. Thanks everybody. Happy
Jodie,
holidays.
you're awesome too.
I will see you in the new year with some more support. But in the meantime, also Bob's tablet. I'm just going to get some money here for that.
No.
Yeah.
You don't have to do
No, because I said I would, and I love Bob High.
Bob, I saw Bob yesterday. We had a great visit with him. I told him hi from you and all the rest.
Or whatever you need to do for
well,
that's my
much.
Thank you, and
I
love you guys. You have no idea. I wish I had half the amazing spirit.
I think it's okay to say something now. Bob High, a longtime friend of ours, who's been the main artist for cannabis culture for all this time.
Don't waste your time. Tell people you love them while you can. Like, no joke.
Exactly.
True feelings. God, am I stoned? I must be. Okay. Love you guys.
Bob High had a very nasty fall downstairs on August 5th, and he's been in hospital ever since. He broke his back, he broke both of his arms, he has very limited use of his hands, and for anybody who's an artist out there, you can imagine how frustrating that would be. But he's now out of hospital, he's into a residence. It's very close to the pot block, within a block. He's just awaiting his electric chair that is coming, and then I'm sure he'll be a regular fixture at the Amsterdam Cafe.
There we go.
And he said he was going to come here too. He said I visited with him yesterday, and he said that if he had had his electric chair, he was going to come down here and surprise us. Which would have been an awesome surprise to see him pulling up on the chair.
That would be cool.
I couldn't visit him for over 2 weeks because he had to isolate once he got released from the hospital. But he's out of isolation now. He's in pretty good spirits, and he's going to be okay. But I know a lot of you people appreciate Bob, and if you send me a message, I'll get it to him. And he's got a tablet now, as you just heard.
Yeah.
And so hopefully he'll be able to.
He's getting a new one, is he?
I got him a new tablet, and
Nice.
and Jodie just contributed to that. So that's so awesome as well.
That's cool.
And so it won't be too long, and Bob will be up to speed and able to be contacted. And I'm sure he'd appreciate any well wishes. Any comments you guys put there, I'll make sure to pass that along to him. He's been such an awesome member of our community for so long. All right, we're past 4:30.
Yeah, we are. No Jerry yet.
Oh, he's not here yet?
No, I don't think so.
He is here.
He is here.
Right. All right.
Well, we're going to go to him. Good. Just tell him we're coming up to see him.
Say thank you to all the people for their donations.
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that.
So let's say thank you to Douglas and Michelle Sikora, Travis Finnegan, Colleen Graham, Carly Thiessen, Jerry Martin, Corey Brennan Golansky, Amy Duncan, and Neil. Thank you very much. Michael Kleinerman, Don Schmidt from the Northern Pikes, the band.
Nice.
Bob Osley, John Murray, Neil, Jessica Allen, Patricia Wood, Venus Carter, Leftover Hippies Incense, and hold on, one more. Oh, no, that's it. Yeah,
Thank you, all you people who contributed.
$1,600.
But you can add to that because you still have time, right?
It's still up, yes. They can add to it.
The GoFundMe page is still up?
It is. I'm going to go home and shut it down because I set it up for 12 days. But if you guys still want to add something, yes, yeah, we've got it all worked out now. Everybody's been paid.
Beautiful.
Everybody's ready for next week. We're a week ahead of time, so that's
You
really
did a
good.
great job, Glenn.
Oh,
thank you so much. Another feather in your cap. Glenn has been so instrumental in helping us with so much.
Yeah.
He comes and videotapes the interesting stuff that goes on, so we capture all of that, plus so much more. And he joins me for the 420 session. Oh yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Aerofresh. I got a ticket for doing 20 kilometers over. Didn't get no points or anything, but I just recently smoked a joint and sprayed some of this Aerofresh. And the officer did not smell anything. I got no questions about cannabis. So if you happen to be just smoking a joint and then you go driving afterwards and do a little bit of speeding and get pulled over, make sure you've gone to aerofresh.ca and bought a bottle of this.
And they're not paying for this ad. We're just telling them that because we appreciate the product.
Yeah, we appreciate the product. They're not well, they
can give us money if they want, but
well, we could talk to Mike about that.
But we're just,
sure.
I'm very happy always to promote things that work. That are positive.
And I've only heard stories. Now it actually worked for me, so it makes them more believable when you can actually tell.
Well, and it worked for us out in the RV too. Yeah. We put the container out there.
Yeah.
It had some
it's not just
mustiness
for
to it.
cannabis, it's for everything.
The mustiness. And apparently it was killing the weed smoke, so I put it away after that. All we were interested in was getting the mustiness out of there. We don't mind if our RV smells like weed. In fact, we kind of like it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
so
if you don't want your car to smell like weed, that's a good
anything
idea.
in the house.
Or your apartment, or any place else as well.
Really good price. I think those little gel packs, that one that you have is only like $12.95 for that, and then that's pretty cheap, and it's like $20 to buy the bottle that refills it 3 times.
Lasts a long time.
Yeah.
Very good.
Stuff.
Thanks for those people for coming up with a great product. And,
all right.
And thanks for you for joining us for the 420 session as
problem.
always.
Thank you, and we'll see
for
you
the
next
Tubes
week.
and Dudes,
Wow.
etc.
Next week's gonna be so cool.
We're gonna have a great time next week. We'll be doing the giveaway during the show next week as well out at the RV.
So you guys can all tune in and get some Christmas spirit from us. 3 days before Christmas, we'll be making some people's feet warm, bellies full, and lots of cannabis.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah.
It's great to be able to give back, and it's thanks to a lot of you folks that we're able to do that as well. So that brings us to our next segment, and I think we're going to go do that in the RV. So let's take a walk out to the RV and see if Jerry's waiting for us. It's dark out here. We're just about to the winter solstice, so then the days start getting longer again. That'll be nice. So what's going on here? Hello. What's going on in the Healing Wave RV? There's our doorman Chris taking a break. Where's Jerry? Okay, hey Jerry.
And his girl is in the car.
Oh, well, let's go down there and talk to Jerry then.
Yeah.
Jerry's babysitting, and I guess, that's the first priority. Hey, Jerry, you got a headlight out.
Oh, great.
There you go.
So, hi, Jerry.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
We overrun.
So, this is the next segment of our show, the Martin Medical Moment, and this is Jerry Martin. And for those of you who don't know, we talk to Jerry almost every week on the show about his journey from being a dispensary owner in Whitewood, Saskatchewan for 4 years, then getting told by Health Canada to cease and desist, which of course you can't do if you're helping people with their medical issues, and it's just a corrupt government doing what they always have been doing. And so Jerry kept going until they arrested him, seized most of his assets, and now for over 4 years he's been waiting to get his day in court, and that hasn't happened yet. But you have a
it's
date.
coming though. It's coming April. Yeah,
April 24th to 28th.
26.
26?
Yeah,
only 2 days.
Yeah, we're
3
doing
days.
the prelim, or I can't remember what we're doing.
I don't
Something
know.
to do over the the witness statements or something.
And it's a constitutional challenge that you got going on now as well.
Yeah. So,
As part of the whole
we'll do it
deal.
in phases,
And that's about allowing people to have access to a storefront, because not everybody can afford or have the ID or the ability to order online, etc., etc.
yeah, exactly. People can't afford it. In a lot of cases, they might get $5 a day. They, if that, they, can scrape up for, their daily medication. They can't afford to do that online. A lot of them don't have credit cards. They got to pay for mailing, taxes, you name it.
And you can't actually look at the weed when you're ordering online.
So you
can't
don't know
smell
what
it.
you're getting.
What you're getting.
Yeah, it doesn't say when. I don't know. Maybe it says when it was grown or packaged before they ship it. I know it says it on there when you ship it, but I don't think they tell you probably that it's 2 years old before
Well,
they
you can't
ship
smell it. You can't like look at it and see it and smell it like you should be able to.
Right,
People need a storefront.
Yeah, they want a choice.
Why do you get a storefront where 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can go into a drug store and get all these medications and drugs, at your disposal right there? Of course, you don't want to be smelling their pills, but I mean, if that was a thing, you
but
could.
you can ask questions at least.
You can.
You're not allowed to in this.
So with cannabis legalization, we get non-medical stores by their own definition, where the bud tenders aren't even allowed to tell you any of the benefits of cannabis or anything like that. So this is not what people need. They need to have a storefront. And thanks, Jerry, for going through all of this and bringing it to the courts. And hopefully we win that, right?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah. It's been a long battle.
So you got some other things going on. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Mindtech's doing well.
Mindtech. So what's that about?
Mindtech Therapeutics is a psychedelics biopharmaceutical company.
Right.
It's ready a good meeting.
Analogs of LSD and
No
psilocybin?
analogs. No.
Oh.
We're going to be doing. We put our application in this week for MDMA, for LSD, for psilocybin, for psilocin, psilocin, I guess is a better way to pronounce that. DMT and 5-MeO DMT.
Wow.
Yeah, and LSD.
I see.
Yeah.
So, and you're looking for approval from Health Canada to be able to dispense these things?
We're partnering with the lab this week, so they've already got a cannabis license to do research and development with.
Right.
And we're just going to add on these other drugs and start developing psychedelic medicines.
And you've had some experience with psychedelic medicines recently?
Yeah, a lot of them,
Yeah.
all
And
kinds of them.
most of it was positive?
Yeah, actually it's all positive, but except for the one I focused.
The last one?
Well, it's positive now.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
now I went back and did the 5-MeO DMT, which I was supposed to do before I left. And had I done that, in a way, but I'm a sufferer. I do things the hard way.
I see.
But yeah, it was a good experience the last time I did that. So yeah, and plus the benefits grow on you over the next 3 months or so.
But the actual experience
yeah,
while it was going on.
It was a tough one, that one for sure.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, and tough in what way? You're vomiting or cramping or what's going on?
I did once, I think, vomit. But the reason of that is you got to move super slow because you've got no equilibrium. It is shot, man.
I see.
And then when you lie, you're just in a trance. At least for me, I was.
And it
Other
wasn't that
people-
fun of a trance.
No. And then you got the Tweety music in the background. Twang, twang, twang.
I see.
Yeah, but you don't realize the time. It's
Does
a
it feel like an eternity, or does it feel like just a few
no,
moments?
you're
or-
just in a situation. You deal with it. But
so
yeah,
you would still recommend that for people, but you would warn them ahead of time that the actual experience itself is maybe difficult.
yeah, it was a difficult experience for sure, but it would definitely work for. Hey, Chloe.
That's the famous
Hi, Chloe.
Yeah, hi, Chloe.
Where's she going?
Hi, Chloe.
Come here, come say hi.
Come and say hi. Oh,
She's tired.
she's tired. We woke her up probably, eh? Oh dear.
Yeah, where were we?
Well, you were just saying that it is a difficult experience to go through, but probably worth doing it.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna book it for my son.
I see.
Yeah, get him off methadone.
And so what sort of things
yeah.
are we talking about here? You're dealing with depression, anxiety,
Yeah,
addiction?
well, I kind of did it for. I'm actually not so depressed anymore since I've been doing the psychedelics.
Right? You did it for cigarette smoking, didn't you?
I did try it for cigarette smoking, didn't quite work
Still
out.
smoking
I was
cigarettes?
Stubborn, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
tomorrow you can
But it's
quit.
not designed for that. It's designed
Weird.
for different sort of things,
I
right?
see.
So opioids, right?
I see.
Heroin, methadone.
And you think it would have a pretty profound effect for people that were doing it for that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I can see how it works. For sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Interesting.
I highly recommend it for that.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. And so what else is going on? Anything else you want to talk about?
Microdelics is doing really well. You can still get your Microdelics kits.
So Microdelics, now we're talking analogs?
Yeah, so Microdelics is the analogs. Mindtech's the the actual substances that we're trying to bring to the courts with evidence to.
So you're doing a study as well?
Yeah, we're going to do several studies.
Are you still looking for recipients of that study?
Well, we haven't started that yet. First, we're going to develop the drugs that we're going to use in the study.
So you haven't started listing people on a list of who's... Okay, but that's coming up in the future?
Yeah, that's coming up in the future. It would be nice by the end of the year, but it does takes actually, it's not that long. It's probably be 3 months or so to get the study approved. But first, we're going to develop the right formulations of the drugs.
Very cool. So... court for your other charge. Do you have any indication of how that's going to go? Have you been talking at all to the prosecutor? I know they've lightened up from where their original stance was with you, right?
Yeah, they seem to be a little lighter, and they're going to give me my passport back and change those conditions. I just haven't bought a ticket because I can't afford to shut down my business for 2 weeks after I come back from Peru.
So you're going back to Saskatchewan for this hearing on
in
April 24th?
To 26, yeah.
And that should be probably in Regina?
Yeah, I believe it's in Regina.
So if you're in Saskatchewan, in the Regina area, keep that on your calendar as a place to be and a place to go, because this is important court dates coming up, and all the support that we can get is important. So very cool, Jerry. I guess that's it. We'll see you next week, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought it was a giveaway today. I brought a bunch of LSD kits.
Oh, no, next week.
Well, it's next
That's
week.
why Chloe was here. We were going to help.
Oh,
yeah.
So you had a little practice run.
The practice run, yeah.
Practice
So
run.
Next week we'll try again.
Next Tuesday we'll do that while the show's going on, and hopefully Chloe can come back, and then we'll have a great time giving stuff away. So. Jerry's so generous; he tries to do it a week ahead of time, even.
We just thank you on the.
Chloe's got $400 in her pocket for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thanks, Jerry. And by the way, I'll just mention that Jerry did a lot of amazing work in his little town in Saskatchewan. He got known as the King of Compassion.
Yes,
he was supporting activism across Canada and also supporting his community in very profound ways. And I really hope that in your court case that gets brought up and that goes in your favor.
That's all their evidence. Kids holding checks, seniors holding checks.
Nice.
Yeah.
It'll be kind of like the Kind trial where they were there with brownies and cakes and cookies and saying, this is what they're trying to hurt people with.
Yeah.
You were trying to hurt people with checks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. Thanks for joining us on the show, and we look forward to next week, and we'll come back and do the giveaway then.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right, let's go see what's going on in the RV.
All right. See you, brother.
Thanks, buddy. So this is the Healing Wave RV. We did have a whole bunch of signs that we put out, and we had a tent that we put up for people, but when the VPD came and raided us, they made us take all that down, and so we haven't put it back up since. We did put up the tent on Sunday when John was here with his hot infused soup for people. It was pouring rain, and I care more about the people not standing in the rain than I do about the chance of the VPD telling us to put our tent down. So we have done that. But we're trying to keep a little bit on the down low because we want this to work, and we want to wait until we get our license and our permission from Health Canada. And so we are a little bit on the down low, but of course they all know where we are and what we're doing. And the police station is just half a block up the street, and their cruisers drive by all day, every day, and thankfully they're just not stopping and stealing our stuff anymore. They're just driving by, but they're very aware of what we're doing, and I think we've made it clear to them through the correspondence that I've had and other people have had with them that this project of ours is definitely making a huge difference down here in many, many ways, including saving people's lives. And I think that's got to be more important than the commercial interference that we're offering up with respect to the government non-medical stores that don't want to have people selling good cannabis at a third of the price of what they're selling theirs for, and that's been our big issue. If it wasn't for that, if we didn't have the legalization that was actually a takeover of the community and an attempt to continue high prices, then we would be embraced by government. They would help us do what we're doing. So we're waiting for them to do that anyway because this is the right thing to do, and I think we've presented it to them in that way. And with enough of you people putting support or pressure on them to help us, I think we'll get this done. So let's go on inside, see what the crew's doing. It's a little cramped in here. It's not the biggest RV, that's for sure. But, you know, cramped.
Hopefully we'll be back in our shop soon.
Hopefully we'll be back in our shop soon. And cramped just means cozy. You know, it's another word for cozy. And it is kind of cozy in here. It's kind of cold in here though. We got our heater. That's how we do things.
The lovely Jodie Emery brought us some stuff to stay warm today too.
Oh yeah, she told us about that. Is that anywhere close?
She brought us some hand warmers and some little foot warmers and some gloves.
Nice.
Chris's cute little hat. That looks like he has little ears.
We're going to have a very good Christmas giveaway, I can tell. We've got a lot of stuff already in our warehouse from other people, and we've got
we have a warehouse.
Well, we got the space up there. I guess I can call it a warehouse.
We have a donation right here.
And yeah, we just got a donation here. There's more coming in every day. This is going to be another good Christmas for the Cannabis Substitution Program to help out the neighborhood. Thanks to all you people who are helping out. So that's just awesome. How you feeling about the RV? This is Jen Nelson, by the way. Of course, you all know her. She's our social media darling that keeps everybody updated on what goes on here during the day. And there's always lots of stuff that goes on here every day.
There is. I never remember all of it.
How has today been? Is there anything of highlight besides Jodie coming and giving us stuff?
Well, I got to go out for lunch with Bob and
Oh, you
his
did?
daughter and her son. And then
see.
he took me out and bought me a Christmas present.
I see. So that's
And then it's been busy. It's been pretty steady.
been busy today. Yeah, we're getting close to Christmas time.
Yeah.
And do we still get people coming up and saying thanks? Has that happened at all today?
Oh, every day.
Every day. That's a dumb
Every day.
question. I knew it was a dumb question.
Well, especially we're still giving out some of Mary's delicious little infused muffins and some of John's little cupcakes.
Right.
They're loving getting those.
We have our program where people get 420 milligrams for free every 4 days if they're part of the program. But we also have a waiting list of close to 300 people that would like to be part of that program that we can't include yet because we just don't have the resources to do that. But we don't turn anybody away. When people come and they want help, we have muffins, cookies,
Something like it.
you know, something. Everybody gets something and a joint every time. So we're pretty happy that we're not actually really turning anybody away during the day and saying, sorry, we can't help you at all. We can't add them to our program and let them pick 420 milligrams every 4 days, but we certainly can almost every day that they come here, give them a cookie or a muffin and a joint and a little bit of love and care because that's what we also dispense from here. Hi, Mackenzie. Oh, she's giving us the love sign there. You want to put your head in there and say hi to the folks at home?
Hi, I just came by to pick up a bunch of food so we can make food for tomorrow and the next day. Tomorrow we're doing beefy mac and cheese.
And what's the name of the society you formed?
The Heart Tattoo Society.
All right.
Because love is permanent.
And then that society is all about food. You're all about giving away.
It's about food and clothing. So what we've started doing is we've started talking to our friends in the hospitality industry. We're getting them on board with like helping cook up all these food donations that we receive so we can serve it to the downtown east side. We're also talking to friends and family to donate their clothing, and we're dropping it to various shelters and other organizations in the downtown east side. And
Awesome.
that is the Heart Tattoo Society. You can find us on Facebook.
Nice. And you can find Mackenzie here several days a week helping us with keeping the lineups in order and all the other wonderful things she does for us. She's organized our van the last time she was here, cleaned it up a whole bunch, and she's just a real good resource that's offering her time to us here. There's Andrew over there. How you doing, Andrew?
I'm doing great.
Are you enjoying your day?
Sure, it's going good.
Anything of note today?
Everybody still says they love the program. Thanks for being here.
You get a lot of that at the back door, don't you?
Yeah, I get it 99% of the time.
So what's going on with the back door?
Go to the back door. We give out 420 milligrams every 4 days of edibles, and we give them one joint.
So the back door of the RV is where the program is run. The side window of the RV is where the Healing Wave is doing their thing. And Andrew's kind of the guy that does almost all of the CSP. So he really does get a lot of people thanking him Those people are so appreciative that, you know, they get over 100 milligrams every day to help them with their issues and to keep them from going to the streets for other drugs. And it's been very, very successful. And I know that those people in particular are really thankful that we've been here for them. And they're the ones who we're not going to let down. They're the ones that we think about when the police say stop what you're doing, or the parking guy says you got to move. Right away, that's what I think about. I think about these people that we're helping and what's going to happen to them if we're just not here for them. And that drives me to continue doing what we're doing, despite the pressure from these public servants to stop until we have permission.
Well, honestly, like with even with the dispensary, like the whole thing is the Cannabis Substitution Project, really, because even with the dispensary, we're giving out Mike's cookies, and I have people telling me they're getting off opiates with his cookies.
Sure, a lot of the people that come to the side door that aren't part of the program and can go to the back door, we help all of those people out. We don't let anybody walk away
Even
without
a lot of people
something.
purchasing are using it to get off of different things.
Well, that's the other side of it. Is it's very, very important that we have it. Uh-oh, what do you got going on here?
I always think it's for us.
They're not coming for us. We worry about that every day. We see the police coming by, the lights go on, and we're like, uh-oh, here they come again. But they're not. But what I was going to say is, and what Jen's alluding to, is that the people that aren't part of the program that want to come here and purchase cannabis, many of those people would not sign up for a program and identify themselves as people that have problems with addictive drugs or opioids and things like that. There's a lot of shame and stigma involved in the use of those things, and the compulsion that people have, or the need that people have to continue to use those, the difficulty they have going through withdrawal and what have you. And so that those people need to have a place where they can discreetly come and purchase high-dose edibles or cannabis in whatever form. And so that's why we have to keep doing that as well. That those people are also extremely important to us, and we don't want to let them down either. So, George, you want to say hi, George? I know you're busy at the window there.
Hey there.
But George is one of our stalwarts as well. He's
What?
stalwart. You guys are stalwarts.
I don't know what
You've been with us, for so long now. For you, it's what, over 3 years? For Andrew, it's probably over 3 years. George must be close to 3 years, helping out at Vandu, maybe from the whole.
About that.
Yeah, about that.
Still here.
So, and they never miss. They never take a day off. I forced them to take days off.
You forced me.
But I had to force Andrew. He'd have been here. He comes here on Monday when we're not even open and hangs around hoping that we'll be here. That's not true. I lie every once in a while. You got to know that about me.
I've
You
got
can't.
to scoop the litter
You
box
can't
on
believe some of
Mondays.
what I say. But seriously, Andrew was here 6 days a week from the beginning, and I had to tell him to take a couple days off when we got kicked out of the store because we had to reduce our staff by about half, and then we had to figure out how to get everybody enough hours in here that was left. So that's what's been going on with that. But Andrew was in charge of volunteers for us at Vandu. Jen was in charge of packaging up all the donations at Vandu. George was in charge of the rolling at Vandu. And we've just carried this on to our store, and now we've carried it on to the RV. So I'm not sure there's too much more. I think that the shows have been a little briefer lately because, we're not in the same format as we used to be. This used to be a show about interviewing the prominent activists and people that are involved in the movement. And if you go back and look at any of the first 50 or so shows that we did, that's what that was always about. And we tried to do a really good in-depth interview with everybody about their history and getting into activism and what they were doing and all of that. But since we've had our store, it's been much more focused on this, I call it the continuing saga of the quest for a community-based cannabis store with low barrier access. And that has certainly become the theme of what this show is about. I mean, it was always about the pursuit of freedom and especially access for medical users and cannabis consumers, but it's been much more narrowly focused on this attempt of ours, this journey that we're on to establish the Healing Wave and the Cannabis Substitution Program inside of a storefront with proper licenses from the different levels of government. And then we can do what we need to do in a proper way, and then we can hopefully get proper funding from levels of government and from other people. I mean, as it stands right now, we've been having a heck of a time as a society. We formed the Serious Hope Society almost a year ago now, and we've been having a lot of trouble getting a bank account because our mission statement within the Serious Hope Society is to provide cannabinoid therapeutics to people. And when the banks see that, they question us as to whether or not we have a license, whether or not we're part of the cannabis legalization or Cannabis Act. And when we say that we're not, but we're hoping we can be, they shoo us away and say, well, come back when you've got permission. So hopefully if we get permission from the governments to be able to do what we're doing here in the form of a piece of paper with a signature on it, that we can also take that to a bank and get a bank account and then solicit for funds to help us with what we're doing as well. So that's what's going on with that. I think that pretty much wraps it up. There's a bunch of other shows on Pot TV that will help educate and inform you and entertain you. Starting off on Mondays with the 420 Lifestyle Show with Carly Marley and BC Budgal. Wednesdays it's From Under the Influence with Greg Williams, the longest running Pot TV show, over 20 years now. Greg's been doing his weekly shows. And on Thursday it's BC Budgal back with Morning Glory, 10 a.m. That's an early start. Most of them start at 4 p.m. but Pacific time. But Morning Glory's on at 10 a.m. It's a wake and bake show. On Fridays, it's Johnny B with How's It Growing? Probably How's It Growing with the second crop now. I think he's already finished the first crop that he started his show with when Jeremiah retired from doing his Cannabis News Live. And then on Saturdays, we've got Boss Lissa with her return with High Noon and her rotating guests that come on there. And that's a lot of fun. And then we'll be back again on Tuesday with more of the THC show. Sundays, there's no shows going on. You can use that day to catch up on the shows that you missed, or just take the day off and relax, or figure out how you can write a letter to help us, or who you can call, or what you can do to help further the cause of bringing low barrier access cannabis stores to your community right across Canada. Other than that, you know, we've still got a pandemic going on. We have the overdose epidemic going on. We've got a lot of strange things happening in our society, and there's a lot of divisiveness going on because of it. And I would just encourage everybody to drop the animosity, to respect other people's opinions, to try to be a little bit more understanding of how other people could come to those conclusions that are different than yours, and to just feel the love, be kind to each other, be kind to yourself, try to stay sane, and above all else, as always, have as much fun as you can.